Hello everyone, it's Benny, and in this video, we're going to start talking about the Ladner Fischer adder. So what exactly is a Ladner Fischer adder? Well, it's a design for a carry look-ahead adder that was invented by Richard E. Ladner and Michael J. Fisher. And the thing that makes Ladner Fischer adders special is, well, first off, if you look at just a traditional carry look-ahead adder that just completely implements the carry look-ahead equation, you see it's a little bit of a mess. It's kind of hard to get a good design of this, especially if you're getting much more than 4 bits, because this is just 4 bits right here. Imagine making a 16-bit version of this. Yeah, it doesn't really work out too well. So what Ladner Fischer did is they made this adder that's really nice and organized. So you don't have to worry about having this just wires exploding all over the place, because yeah, it's a really nice, organized, methodical design. You can easily expand it out to pretty much as many bits as you want. And yeah, so it's really nice design like that. It's also relatively small as far as carry look-ahead adders go. Now, is it gonna be anywhere close to as small as a ripple carry adder? No, not even close. There's 2 completely different levels there. But as far as carry look-ahead adders go, Ladner Fischer is one of the smallest. It's not the absolute smallest, that would go to Brent Kung, but it is pretty small. So, and of course, being carry look-ahead adder is pretty fast. So, we're going to take a look at how to build it, and all the logic that goes into it. It's also going to be a great opportunity to show you how the Brent Kung cells, which we talked about in the last video, work. So, let's just go ahead and get started then. Alright, so the first step in building a Ladner Fischer adder, just like any other adder in the world, is the half adder. Now you can use any half adder design you like. I'm just going to use a design that's nice and simple, and hopefully gets the point across. So I'm going to start by making an XNOR gate. Here are my 2 inputs. Now I'm going to start with the NOR part, so here's input 1, here's input 2, and just like that. So therefore this is the OR gate, and if I invert that, there's the NOR. So there we go, we've got the NOR gate. Now to get the X part, we need the AND gate, so I'm going to put 2 torches here, and that creates a NAND gate. So if I invert that, I get an AND gate. Actually, I'm going to do the inversion right here. So we've just built an XNOR gate. Now to make it hopefully a little bit easier to understand, I'm actually going to go with an XOR-based Ladner Fischer adder. You can make XNOR based, just like with any other adder, but I think XOR will be a little bit easier to understand. So there's the XOR. I just inverted the XNOR part. So there we go. XOR. Now to get the XNOR part, not the XNOR part, the AND, for the half adder, I'm going to use the AND we have right here. I'm going to use the repeater to pull it out from under. I'm going to block it off so that doesn't interfere. And there's the torch for the AND gate, because I have to invert it. And now I have my half adder. So if both are on, we get the generate, and if only one is on, we get the propagate. So traditional half adder, pretty simple. It's 3 ticks, so like I said, not going for the fastest thing in the world, but hopefully this is a little bit easy to understand. So now I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to stack it 8 times. Well, 7 times, because I want an 8-bit adder. And yeah, so there's my half adder portion, and hopefully they all stack, so if I flip that, that's working, and they aren't screwing each other up. So yeah, this is working out just fine. I've got all my propagates, all my generates, and yeah, so actually just to make things a little bit more clear, I'm going to label this as the propagates, and these as the generates, because that's basically how half adders work. And yeah, so there we go, we got all our half adders set up. Nice, easy, easiest part of the process. Okay, so the next step in making a Ladner Fischer adder is the carry logic. Now, as I hinted at earlier, Ladner Fischer adders use Brent Kung cell-based carry logic. And although I discussed how they work in the last video, I never really built an adder that actually used it. So I'm going to sort of discuss how Brent-Kungsell-based carry logic works, along with the actual Ladner Fischer layout of it. So, first off, just about every Brent-Kungsell-based adder all starts with the first 2 bits, because the first bit, aside from adding the carry in, this bit already has a completely valid carry calculation. And unless, well, yeah, like I said, unless you have the carry in, this is a completely valid carry calculation right off the bat. And I'm not going to add a carry in just for the sake of simplicity, but so pretty much for all purposes, this thing is already completely valid. This bit is done. All of the carry data here, completely valid. So, in order to get the second bit working, the only carry data I have to combine this with is the previous data. And that's what Brent-Kungsell does, is it combines existing carry data with previous carry data. So I'm going to start, let's see, will this work? Actually, yeah, this will work, won't it? Or will it? Okay, yeah. This will work. So I'm going to build a Brent-Kungsell right here. And this is the exact same Brent-Kungsell I built before. And you see I have signs from where I screwed up the video earlier. I accidentally world edited out all the Brent-Kungsells, so I had to record this part over, but yeah. So yeah, these are all of the signs from the Brent-Kungsell. And yeah, this is the current generate, and as you can see that's lined up. This is the current propagate, as you can see that's lined up. Now this is the previous generate. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that right here. And yeah. And pretty much at this point I'm just plugging in all the data, so it's completely valid. Now this is the propagate from the previous bit, so that plugs in right there. Now all you have to do is just build the actual Brent-Kungsell. So as you remember, the Brent-Kungsell works by combining the generate logic, that and propagate. I'm not going to re-explain Brent-Kungsell based logic, but yeah, that's what that does. And if you really want to know how Brent-Kungsell logic works, look in the last video, I already described that. So now the propagate, it's an and between these two. And yeah. And now our propagate data is valid. So now I'm going to get the propagate from over here, just because that's still propagate data. And I'm going to go ahead and bring over generate data from over here, because that's still generate data. And now I can get complete carries. So I can, for example, I can generate a carry on these bits. So as you can see, that's generated carry, and I can propagate it over. As you can see, that's done right there, propagated over the carry signal. And I can turn these off, and not change that to 2 ticks. And there you go, I've generated carry there. So the carry logic between these 2 bits is now completely valid. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and I could start using this carry data from this bit and start combining with all the rest of the carry data, getting some interesting adder designs like that. But hey, I already have a bunch of carry data, like right here, and I can start combining that with Brent-Kungsells and making completely valid carry logic. And that would be, it'd be nice to do some calculation without having to start using this data. Because if I start using this data, I'll have to wait for this Brent-Kungsell to calculate in order to do the rest of that calculation. And that's sort of, yeah, I want to do as much in parallel at this stage as possible. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with these 2 bits, with these 2 bits. This one isn't completely valid carry calculation yet, but we can combine that a bit later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here, position 1, and position 2, and I'm just going to stack this 3 times, because we can just combine the exact same carry data from between these 2 bits and these 2 bits and these 2 bits. And now the carry calculation between any pair of bits is completely valid. It's not valid the rest of the way, but it's valid with these 2. And that completes all of the carry logic for the first layer. It combines these 2. Now the logic between any 2 bits is completely valid. Okay, so now we finished the first layer. And at this point, only 2 of our carries are valid. The first bit and the second bit. Now we've done some calculation for some of the other bits, but the only bits that are completely valid are the first two. So in the second layer, I'm going to just take this, I'm going to figure out what this one is. What is carry 3? Or, well, the carry for the third bit. How do I calculate this? Well, first off, I need to combine this data with the data of the previous two bits, because that's how Brent-Kung carry cell logic works. So, now this is actually not that hard, because this bit right here, it already has the Brent-Kung cell that combines these two bits. So at this point, this bit right here, it already has all of the carry data of the previous two bits combined. So all I have to do to combine all the carry data is combine this and this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a Brent-Kung cell. I'm going to build it... Where am I going to build it? Well, actually, yeah, I'll build it right here. So this is... Okay, wait. Yeah, I'm going to build here. No, I'm going to move out one more, just because I'm not going for the smallest design possible. I'm just going for something that, you know, gets the point across. Actually, one thing I will do really quickly, I'm going to add 2-tick repeaters on, whoops, all of these lines. And this doesn't do anything except keep it in sync, because all of these carries, right, or all the properties here will have 2 ticks of calculation. Might as well just add 2 ticks of calculation to all of these. Again, doesn't actually change the logic, just, you know, makes it a little bit more synchronized. So yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure that goes there, not there. So yeah. So this is the carry, the generate from the previous one. This is the generate from that one. This is out of sync, isn't it? I'm sorry, I'm just completely failing to build the Brent-Kung cell. But that's okay, because you're getting the idea. And the point here isn't how to build the Brent-Kung cells, it's how the actual logic works. And hopefully you're all understanding that just fine. At this point, I'm just actually going to decide to see how closely I can fit everything in without screwing up the logic. And unless I use glowstone, that's about as close as I can get. So I'm just going to move this back one, because I can move it back one. So why not? So there, that's combined that logic. And yeah, it doesn't matter. So, yeah. There's the new propagates. Now let's put them into the Brent-Kung cell. So, Brent-Kung cell. And. There's the and right there. There is the new generate. So, add that onto the wire. Now all these, they can go down, because, you know, just because they keep going, they're already completely valid. Don't need to do anything more to these. Although, I will, again, add 2 ticks of delay on these, since they aren't being changed. I should probably do that a bit on this one stage here, too, shouldn't I? And to keep it in sync, why not? Okay, so 2 ticks here, just to keep everything in sync. I realize I should be doing it on all of them. So yeah. Again, doesn't actually affect the logic or the timing, just keeps things slightly more in sync. So yeah. And we'll do that for all of them, because why not? So, this right here, that combines those two. And now I need the AND gate. So yeah, there we go. That has combined all the previous carries. Now if I turn this on, I should be able to propagate across this bit and across to this bit. And, as you can see, I can. So, yeah. Now, the next question is, what about this one? I could save this to the next layer and combine it with this one, but you know what? I really don't want to. So, here's what I'm going to have to do. And it's a little bit interesting, but yeah, I'm going to combine it with this one. And you might think, whoa, wait a second. But what about this bit? I'll still need to combine with this bit, right? Well, this is where this extra calculation I've done comes in handy. This brain console already combines with the data from this bit. So it already has all the data. All I need to combine it with is the data for the previous 2 bits before this is valid. So, in order to get this working, I'm going to combine it with the data of the previous 2 bits. So, first off, gonna use the brain console. And I'm gonna build it in the same place, because why not? Whoops. And it's gonna use the same propagates as before. So this propagate actually doesn't end up being used, I don't think. I could be wrong. I haven't actually done the propagate section of the brain consoles or of the Ladner Fischer adder for a while, so I'll just see if that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong, though, so I'll just leave that as it is. I don't think we actually need to use that yet. So, it's using the same propagate from the previous 2, because that's the previous cell in this case. And that's the next generate in this case, so there's the AND. And really, there we go. That's done all of that logic just like that. So, with that all out of the way, I can bring that up. I now have my new propagate, and I can bring that up. And now I have my next propagate. Just to throw up the terminology a bit. And yeah, so now I should be able to propagate all the way to the 4th bit, and still the calculation be completely valid. So if I go down here, that generates completely valid, that carry is valid. I can propagate over these 2, and I should be able to propagate over to this one, and it should still work. But, lo and behold, it does not. Why not? Okay, maybe that does require something with that propagate. Again, I haven't done the propagates for this in... Oh. Actually, it might have to do with the fact that I'm not plugging in anything right here. And also... So that, I believe, should be that. Yes. And I also believe this is not quite correct, because it should be the carry of the previous bit, right? Well, no, because that's the command right there. So this actually should be correct. That's the propagate... Oh, and that's why that one didn't get used. Okay, that makes sense now. So the reason that didn't end up being used is because I actually screwed up the inputs. This is the propagate of the previous bit. That's that bit. Right? Yeah. This is the propagate of the current bit. So that should be that, because that's the propagate. So yeah, I sort of screwed that wiring up a bit. So hopefully you aren't too mad at me about that, but yeah. So now everything works. It's nice and dandy, and yeah. So, now here's the thing. Just like with the previous one, these 4 bits, I'm not doing anything with. So you know what I'm going to do? That's right, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go down here. And just cause, why not? I'm going to go ahead and lower these. Doesn't really matter, but I'm going to have to do it at some point anyways, so why not? That's position 1. That's position 2. And if I stack this one time, that should have everything line up. And all those propagates should be working properly. So yeah, and that's completed the second carry layer. Alright, so now we've completed that carry layer, we still don't have all our carries completely valid. Now these 4 carries are valid, but not all of our carries are valid yet, so we still need another carry layer. Although you may have noticed a pattern so far. After our first half adder, we had 1 valid carry. Then after the next layer, we had 2 valid carries. Now we have 4 valid carries. And so you may assume that after this layer, we would have 8 valid carries. And you'd be correct. After the next layer, we'd have 16, and then 32, and 64, and then 128, and then so on. So you just get exponentially more and more valid carries after each layer in Ladner Fischer, and that's what makes this so... It makes it so fast as a design, because as you get more and more bits, you need fewer and fewer additional layers to get that carry calculation completed. And this is why this design just gets more and more efficient as things go on. I'll just leave it at that, not go into why carry look ahead is such a decent algorithm in this format, but yeah. I'll leave that discussion for another video. Anyways, on to the next carry layer. So, just like we did the last one, I'm going to look at the spacing just to be completely sure I don't screw this up. Okay. So, just like for the last layer, what we did is we took this bit, we just used the last two carries. Same is true for the fifth bit. For this bit, this carry right here has all the carries of the previous bits. It has valid carries for everything else. Since this carry is completely valid, if I Brent Kung it together with this one, it's going to be completely valid as well. So, that's exactly what I'm going to do. There's going to be that one, there's going to be that one, and yeah. So, I'm just going to make yet another carry layer. I'm going to bring all these down, whoop. Just to make the wiring a little bit easier. So, Brent Kung cell. And this is a previous one, so throw that in. At this point, I really don't think you need to see how Brent Kung cell built again. But just for, like, the two of you that do, here you go. Merry Christmas. And yeah, I'm probably going to be using World Edit for the rest of them, so just be forewarned. And yeah, so there we go. We've Brent Kung celled it together. There's my generate, there's my propagate. I'll bring it one down, because why not? And yeah. And I should be able to propagate all the way over to the fifth bit now. And I can. So yeah. Now what about the sixth bit? Well, I've already Kunged together with this one, so all I need is with the fourth bit and below. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, except I'm going to actually use World Edit because you definitely do not need to see me build another one of these. So, whoops. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this just to make it a little easier. So I'm gonna copy, gonna move over to, and I'm gonna paste. So yeah. Now the previous cell is gonna be the same one as those two. So there you go. And oh, almost forgot. Add in delay, just to make it valid, and while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and add all these wires in. And just so you know, you can build this a lot faster than I am, because you can sort of just like build 2 bits, then stack that once, then add in the 4th layer, then stack that, and then add in the 8th layer. And it makes these things really, really quick to build. But I'm just sort of building it the slow way, just to give you an idea of how the whole process sort of goes, and how the logic of it, that goes into it. And yeah. So there you go, those are all those layers. And there we go. Now I should, if I plug this in, if I propagate, be able to propagate over to the 6th bit now. And, as you can see, I'm propagating over. So that's working pretty much as good as it possibly can at this point. Now, I'm not fully sure why that's on. Well, I guess that makes sense why that's on, so I'll just deal with that. Yeah, that's actually right. I'm just being a derp. So yeah. Now, for the 7th bit, you notice I'm Brent Kunging them together here and here, so I just need the 4th bit again. So, paste. And in case you didn't see that, there's Brent Kung cell here, there's Brent Kung cell here, so it's combined with these 2 bits, so these 3, right? Just need to combine with these 4. That's completely valid. It has all bits before it. And I pasted it in the wrong position because I'm a derp. But that's alright. So paste, and this is there's that, and the previous one, I'll have to go up a bit so that doesn't get in the way. Or alternatively, I can just do like this. Nothing says I can't just do like that, and then I don't have to do a weird derp wire. So in fact, I am going to do like that. I'm going to do it here too, because, spoiler alert, it's going to end up being the same propagate and generate next time too. But you sort of already saw that coming, so I don't really know how many people are going to be too surprised about that. But yeah. So now I should be able to propagate to the 7th bit from the 1st bit. And surprise, surprise, I can. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it in, since I already spoiled the conclusion to this. But yeah, as you can see, this Brentkung cell combines all of the previous carries. These two carries are already completely valid. Blah, blah. Wow. I'm just failing to sort of give away the whole thing now, aren't I? But yeah, as you can see from this one, this is sort of... You probably can't see it, because the logic gets a little bit weird at this point, but yeah. Because now we're doing with two sort of layers at once. This Brentkung cell is combining this... What? Actually, yeah, that makes sense. Combining this bit with the previous one, because this bit should already have all the carries from this, right? Right. So, if I combine all these layers, then this should be working. I get the feeling that I've done something horrendously wrong here. And, surprise, surprise, I did. That's why things were not making sense to me. Because this is still the previous cell for both of them. I don't change the propagate. I was being a complete and total derp right there, but yeah. These things are kind of easy to screw up, but yeah. This cell, it's combining this one and this one, since that's combining them. And it's also combining these two, since that and that. So it's combining that and that, and that and that. So that gets me this. All four of those. If I combine all four of those with all four of those, surprise, I get the 8th bit. And I'm going to go ahead and propagate over. And there you do not go, apparently, because I didn't hook this up. So yeah, you still don't go because I didn't hook this up, right? Come on. You know you want to work. Why aren't you working? There we go. Once you actually plug everything into the Brentkung cell, it all carries over. So yeah, you can now propagate across all the bits, and if I break this at any point in the chain, of course, it all goes away. So there you go. This is all of the carry logic we can now carry across every single bit. And we can carry across pretty quickly, all things considered. So now, all that we have left to do in this big carry look-ahead adder is the final push, the final half adder, or really XOR. We don't even need a half adder, we just need an XOR gate to combine the propagates from at the very start with all of our carries, and then we're done. Okay, so I just did a few things off camera to hopefully make this a little bit easier to watch. First off, I just changed this a little bit. I made the torch go like this, instead of just taking it directly from there, because that allows me to put a torch up here, and bus across. And I put the repeater on 4 ticks because I'm going to have it somewhere around there for synchronization later, but you can put it on 1 tick for now if you like. Doesn't matter. And really, it doesn't matter at all if you don't want it to be synchronized, but yeah, I'm just doing that because why not? One interesting thing here is I put glowstone here for everywhere where there's a Brentkung cell, because otherwise the torch would go through. If you're on Xbox, you can just build straight up like that instead. But I'm going to leave glowstone here because I think it's really cool to just look down and see glowstone for every place where there's a Brentkung cell. And yeah. I also broke the propagates off of this simply because we don't need that. And yeah, so just completely destroyed the propagates of that, because we're not going to be building onto this anymore, so I don't need it. And I just went through and I actually I actually made all these torches that face this way. And the reason for that is because I'm about to build an XOR gate. So, First off, I'm going to start with the implies gate. It's going to be the same XOR gate as over there, because that way people on Xbox can follow along. So, whoops. And yeah, I am using a 2-tick XOR, just because, why not? So there you go. And this wire's going to go around here. And it's going to go right here. And there you go. So, there's that. And I believe that's everything for this thing to work. And if you want to know more about how and why this XOR works, look in that video. So, I'm just going to test it to make sure I did everything right. And it would appear I did, so let's first off actually move this up a bit. That way it's just a tiny bit, what's the word? Tiny bit easier to see the output. It's not sort of like buried down there at the bottom. There's position 1. And here's position 2, because I already have all the torches on that. I'm going to stack this 7 times. The reason I didn't include that is because if I did, it would knock off all those torches. So why not? Here's the thing you might forget. You also need to stack this way once. And it might not be immediately obvious why, but remember, you also have a carrion that you could potentially have. Like, for example, over here. And that carrion goes into the last half adder, even though in this case it's just an XOR. Now, again, like I said, I'm not going to be including a carrion here because I don't need one, pretty much. And really because it sort of detracts from the whole point of the video, which isn't how to do carrion, it's how to make a Ladner Fischer adder. Okay, and I went ahead and did a little bit more bussing off camera, just to make your life a little bit more bearable, hopefully. So, all I really did is I took our XOR, hooked up all the propagates to our propagate wires. And the way I did this is a little bit interesting. What I did is I took the repeater, I powered that through a block like this, and then I went down. Then, for the next repeater, I went down one block. I did the same thing. And I just staggered like that all the way across. And that way there's no interference. And it's an interesting way to stagger. I've actually never done it before, but yeah. I also went through and I ensured that every single one of these repeaters had a total of 6 ticks of delay on the line. So 2 here and 4 here, so 6 total. And the reason is there's 6 ticks total of delay underneath our adder, with our, not underneath it, in the carry logic. 2 ticks for each Brent conch cell. There's a total of 3 layers of Brent conch cells, so 6 ticks total. And yeah, I also went ahead and set up our speed testing device, but I'll get to that when we actually test the speed of it. First off, let's actually add something, because we've just built an adder. So, 5 and 3. What do you get? Apparently, not 8. I get the feeling this is just because I completely derped something up. But yeah, so we're going to figure out why Benny has derped on today's episodes of Mathematical Redstone Circuits. So, why has Benny derped? Benny has built a Ladner Fischer adder, which for some reason is carrying 1 bit too far. So what's happened? What has Benny done so horribly and stupidly wrong? Well, it appears that this Brent conch cell is on when it shouldn't. Now why is that? Well, that's off, and that's on. Now clearly, something here isn't right. And what isn't right? Well, I don't know, but I dare say that my propagate for my current bit is not the propagate from the previous bit. Now, it could be a bit wrong, but I'm going to dare say that's not the case. So I'm going to go ahead and break that, because I don't know, I'm going to say that's not right. And notice, Ladner Fischer adder has magically started working again, now that Benny has stopped being a total and complete derp. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is why Benny was a complete derp. I have no idea what that was, but yeah, I just, for some reason, decided those wires should be connected. And they really shouldn't have. So yeah, now that gets me 8. Now if I want to add another 4 more to that, then it carries properly. And of course, if I propagate, then that moves over. So it's all working just like it should. So now how fast is it? Well, let's find out. Let's see how long it takes in the worst case scenario, carrying across every single bit. Well, if I flip this, as you can see, they're turning off in sync, and they're turning on in sync, including the inputs. You notice all of our inputs are synchronized, because we went through and made sure that was true. And yeah. But, yeah. As you can see, I have 3-tick repeater here, because 1 repeater there, 1 repeater there, and 1 repeater there, so 3 ticks in the carry testing mechanism. And I actually should have been 2 ticks, because I forgot to take into account the torch. But yeah. Or maybe it shouldn't have. I don't know. But in any case... Oh wait, it should have, and I just should have had 1 more tick on this. There we go. There we go. Benny has stopped being a derp once again. But yeah, as you can see, our adder is 11 ticks. 4 plus 4 plus 3. And why is it 11 ticks? Well, we have 3 ticks in our not the best designed half adder, 2 ticks per carry layer, and we have 3 layers, so 6 ticks there. 6 plus 3, that's 9. And 2 ticks in our final XOR, so 11 ticks total. Now, does this mean Ladner Fischer adders are 11 ticks and that's as fast as they can possibly be? Not by a long shot. If I change this to a more efficient half adder right here, like, I don't know, something that's 2 ticks, which is perfectly possible. That shaves 1 tick right there, so that's 10 ticks. If I did XNOR based, an interesting thing I could do is I could actually send inverted inputs to our first carry layer. So that would actually make our first carry layer 1 tick instead of 2 ticks. So that's 9 ticks. And there's actually a couple more tricks you can do to actually get these down to 8 ticks, and I believe you can even get them down to 7 ticks. I'm not completely sure you can without getting into proper look-ahead logic, but I think you might be able to. I haven't looked into that, but it's definitely possible to get at least 8 ticks. And yeah, so that's the Ladner Fischer adder. This is definitely not the smallest design either, by far. I mean, look at this thing. This thing's massive. But you can get this thing pretty small. Also consider this as 8-bit, so it's going to be inherently bigger than normal, but yeah. And that's the Ladner Fischer adder. It can be up to at least 8 ticks, possibly 7 ticks without getting into proper look-ahead logic. But yeah. So, thank you. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video, where we will talk about probably a few more carry look-ahead adders, because why not? So thank you, see you next time.